The great chamber floated in the darkness of space. It was a massive crystal sphere built around a dying red star. Inside, 4,000 different species had gathered. Some had scales, some had fur, some were made of living rock or flowing energy. They came from every corner of the galaxy, and today they were all afraid. High Arbiter stood at the center of the chamber. She was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and 6 eyes that could see in every direction at once. Her voice echoed through the hall as she called the session to order. "We are here today to discuss the human question," she announced. "Ambassador of the Dominion has filed formal charges against the species known as humanity. The charges are severe. The evidence is disturbing. Let us begin." Ambassador stepped forward. He was a large creature, covered in thick armor plates that his species had evolved over millions of years. His 4 arms crossed over his chest as he addressed the council. 73 years ago we made first contact with the humans," he said. His voice was deep and filled with anger. "They were a young species, one small planet, primitive technology. We thought they were nothing special." He paused and looked around the chamber. Every eye, every sensor, every consciousness was focused on him. "We were wrong." The chamber's display systems activated. A holographic map of the galaxy appeared, showing thousands of star systems. 4 regions were highlighted in red. The hegemony said, 12 billion citizens, 400 star systems, one of the oldest civilizations in the Outer Arm. They declared war on humanity 42 years ago. He pressed a button. The red region turned black. Gone, every world empty, every station abandoned. No bodies, no refugees, just silence. Whispers spread through the chamber, raised her hand for quiet. "The swarm," continued, "a hive mind that had existed for 2 million years. They controlled an entire galactic arm. They sent their warriors to consume Earth." Another region turned black. Gone, 1 trillion creatures all connected to a single consciousness. One day they were there. The next day, nothing. Every drone, every warrior, every queen, all stopped at the exact same moment, like someone turned off a light. The whispers grew louder. Fear was spreading through the chamber like a disease. The illuminated consciousness. They were a digital species. Billions of minds uploaded into vast computer networks. They tried to forcibly upload humanity into their system. Black. Their servers are still there, but every mind inside has been corrupted, scrambled. They exist, but they are no longer themselves. They will never recover. Turn to face directly. And then there is my own people. The Dominion sent a fleet to teach humanity respect. 50,000 warships, 200 million soldiers, the largest armada assembled in 10,000 years. His voice cracked with emotion. 1 ship returned. 1. The crew was alive but broken. They could not speak properly. They could only repeat one phrase over and over in every language we know. He activated a recording. A weak, trembling voice filled the chamber. "They don't want to win. They want you to have never existed. They don't want to win. They want you to have never existed. They don't want to win." The recording stopped. The chamber was completely silent. "I demand answers," said. "I demand justice. What are these humans? What have they done? And how do we stop them before they erase us all?" Nodded slowly. The human representative will now approach. From the back of the chamber, a single figure walked forward. She was small compared to most species present. Just 2 arms, just 2 legs, no armor, no claws, no visible weapons. She looked fragile, like she might break if someone touched her too hard. Commander was 57 years old. Her hair was gray at the edges. Her face had lines from years of hard decisions, but her eyes were what made the aliens uncomfortable. They were calm, completely calm, as if she was taking a walk in a garden instead of standing before 4,000 terrified civilizations. She reached the central dais and looked up at Ambassador. "Hello," she said. Her voice was soft and friendly. I understand you have questions." "Questions?" shouted. "You have destroyed entire species. You have erased civilizations that existed for millions of years. You have committed crimes against the natural order of the galaxy." Tilted her head slightly. "I think there has been a misunderstanding." "Misunderstanding's armor plates rattled with rage. "What is there to misunderstand? You are monsters." "No," said, her voice remained calm. "The misunderstanding is in your words. You said we destroyed civilizations. You said we committed crimes, but Ambassador, we didn't do anything wrong." The chamber erupted in noise. Thousands of voices shouted in hundreds of languages, had to use a sonic pulse to restore order. "Explain yourself," the High Arbiter commanded. Nodded. "You keep using words like war and battle and conflict. You talk about what we did as if it was warfare, but here is the truth that you need to understand." She paused and looked around the chamber, meeting as many eyes as she could. "Humans don't fight wars. We stopped doing that a long time ago. We learned that wars are messy. They are expensive. They create lasting hatred. They rarely solve the actual problem, so we developed a different approach." "And what is that approach?" asked. Smiled. It was a small smile, gentle even, but somehow it made half the chamber want to run away. "We resolve threats," she said, "permanently." "That is just another word for war," argued. "No, it isn't," shook her head. "In a war, you fight until one side surrenders or is too weak to continue. The loser survives. They rebuild. They remember their defeat. They teach their children to hate the winners, and eventually they try again." She spread her hands. "We don't allow that. When someone threatens our home, our families, our future, we don't fight them. We don't defeat them. We remove them completely, forever, so that there is no one left to hate us, no one left to rebuild, no one left to try again." The chamber was silent. The horror of her words was sinking in. "The wanted to enslave us," continued. "The wanted to eat us. The illuminated wanted to absorb us. Your fleet, Ambassador, was sent to make an example of Earth. Those were your own High Command's words." "Said nothing. In each case we gave warnings. We offered alternatives. We made the consequences clear. And in each case they attacked anyway. They chose their fate." She turned back to, "You asked what we are. I will tell you. We are a species that does not start fights. We don't want enemies. We don't want conflict. We want to explore, to learn, to make friends among the stars." Her voice hardened just slightly. "But we are also a species that finishes things. When someone truly threatens us, we do not stop until the threat no longer exists, not defeated, not contained, not pushed back, gone, because leaving a threat alive means leaving a problem for our children, and that is something we will never do." She stepped back from the dais. "You wanted to understand humans, Council. Now you do. The only question that remains is, what will you do with that understanding?" The chamber remained silent for a long time. 4,000 species looked at the small, fragile-looking human standing alone at the center of the room. And for the first time in galactic history, every single one of them was thinking the same thought. We must never become their enemy. The silence in the council chamber lasted for several long minutes. Finally, High Arbiter spoke again. Her voice was careful, measured, like someone walking through a field of explosives. "Commander, your words are troubling, but words are easy. The Council requires evidence. We need to understand exactly what humanity did to these civilizations. How did you accomplish this?" Erasure. Nodded. She had expected this request. "I can show you," she said. "With your permission, I would like to use the Neuralink system. I want you to experience what happened from the perspective of those who attacked us. Not our view, theirs." The council members looked at each other nervously. The Neuralink was a technology that allowed direct sharing of memories and experiences. It was rarely used because it was so intimate, so overwhelming. "Is this necessary?" asked a representative from a peaceful trading species with soft golden fur. I believe it is, replied. You will never truly understand unless you feel it yourselves. After a heated debate that lasted an hour, the council agreed. The Neuralink systems activated throughout the chamber. 4,000 minds connected together, ready to receive. Let us begin with the hegemony, said. This is what they experienced. The vision started. The council members found themselves looking through eyes. They were in a military command center, surrounded by officers with thick armor plates and sharp claws. On the screens around them, a small blue planet floated in space. Earth. Pathetic, one of the officers said. One planet, no colonies. Their fastest ships are slower than our cargo haulers. This will be the easiest conquest in our history. The High Commander stepped forward. He was old and from many battles. Send the ultimatum. They have one rotation of their planet to surrender. Then we begin harvesting. The ultimatum was sent. The expected fear. They expected begging. They expected surrender. What they received was strange. A single message came back from Earth. It contained no threats, no pleas, just a question, broadcast not to the military but to every single citizen with a communication device. Are your leaders worth dying for, all of you? The High Commander laughed. Is this their response? A philosophical question. These creatures are even more primitive than we thought. But then the second transmission arrived. It was not a message. It was information, vast amounts of information, documents, recordings, financial records, secret communications, all of it broadcast directly to the civilian population. The council members watched in amazement as the truth spread through society. They saw evidence of the ruling caste stealing resources meant for the poor. They saw recordings of political opponents being murdered. They saw proof that the last 3 famines had been artificially created to control the population. They saw everything that the leaders had hidden for thousands of years. How did they get this? An officer screamed. Our systems are secure. This is impossible. But the information kept coming, and with it came something else, an offer. To any citizen who does not wish to be part of this war, the human message said, we offer asylum. We offer food, shelter, and safety. We offer a new life, free from the leaders who have lied to you for generations. All you have to do is leave. The hegemony did not fall to weapons. It fell to truth. Within 3 days, half the population was demanding the arrest of the ruling caste. Within a week, civil war had erupted on every major world. The military fractured as soldiers learned their families had been betrayed by the government they served. The ruling caste fled to their fortress worlds, heavily defended planets where they believed they would be safe. They were wrong. The council watched as small objects, no bigger than grains of sand, drifted down through the atmospheres of the fortress worlds. They were invisible to sensors. They passed through shields like they did not exist. Nanoscale disassemblers, machines so small they could not be seen with the naked eye. Machines programmed to break down organic matter into basic atoms. The ruling caste did not die in battle. They did not die in explosions. They simply dissolved, quietly, cleanly, every leader, every guard, every servant who had chosen to stay, reduced to nothing but dust that blew away in the wind. The fortress world still existed. The buildings still stood, but they were empty, perfectly empty. The vision ended. The council members found themselves back in the chamber, shaking from what they had experienced. You gave them a choice, said slowly. You let the innocent leave. Of course, replied. We are not monsters. We have no quarrel with farmers and teachers and children. Our quarrel was with those who chose to threaten our existence, and only those. But the nanoscale weapons, another representative said, that technology is forbidden by galactic law. Where did you get it? Smiled slightly. We invented it, along with quite a few other things. Your galactic law does not apply to us. We never signed any treaties. We were never asked." Ambassador stepped forward, his anger returning. "This proves nothing. They were corrupt, yes, but that does not justify genocide." "Genocide?" raised an eyebrow. "Ambassador, genocide is the killing of an entire people. We did not kill the people. There are over 4 billion alive today. They live on colony worlds. They have rebuilt their society. They have a democracy now. Their children go to school. Their families are safe." She turned to face him directly. "We killed their leaders, the ones who chose war, the ones who refused our offer of peace, the ones who decided that enslaving humanity was more important than the lives of their own people. That is not genocide. That is justice." The chamber buzzed with whispered conversations. The council members were struggling to process what they had learned. "Show us another," commanded. "Show us the—" Nodded, the neural link activated again. This time the council experienced the hive mind directly. It was overwhelming, 1,000,000,000 voices all thinking as one, all serving the queens who guided them. The swarm had existed for 2 million years. It had consumed hundreds of worlds. It was hungry, always hungry, and it had found new prey. "Earth." The swarm approached with confidence. What could one small planet do against 1,000,000,000 warriors? The queens commanded the advance. The warriors obeyed. They always obeyed. The first wave entered the solar system. They expected resistance, primitive ships, perhaps ground defenses, maybe nuclear weapons. They were prepared for all of these things. They were not prepared for silence. No human fleet met them. No weapons fired. The system seemed completely undefended. The queens were pleased. This would be even easier than expected. Then, across 200 light-years, 17 stars flickered at the same moment. Not the small star that Earth orbited. The 17 stars where the queens lived. The hidden worlds where the hive mind's true masters commanded their armies from safety. The council watched through the eyes of a warrior drone as something impossible happened. Objects appeared near each queen world. They were moving so fast that they seemed to appear from nowhere. Rocks, simple rocks, but accelerated to 99% of the speed of light. Relativistic kinetic impactors. The humans had not invented new weapons. They had taken the oldest weapon, throwing a rock, and made it perfect. The rocks hit all 17 queen worlds at the same moment. The impacts released more energy than the stars themselves. Each world was not just destroyed. It was vaporized, converted into expanding clouds of plasma that glowed brighter than supernovas. And then silence. The council experienced what it felt like when a hive mind dies. One moment, 1,000,000,000 voices. The next, nothing. Every drone, every warrior, every creature connected to the queens simply stopped. Their bodies did not die immediately. Their hearts kept beating. Their lungs kept breathing. But the intelligence behind their eyes was gone. 1,000,000,000 creatures stood frozen across a galactic arm, waiting for orders that would never come. The vision ended. Several council members were crying. Others had turned away from the display. The horror was too great. "You killed them all," whispered, "every single one." "No," said softly. "We killed 17. 17 queens who chose to send their children to consume our world. The 1,000,000,000 warriors were not our enemies. They were slaves. They had no choice in what they did. We felt sorry for them." She paused. "But they could not survive without the hive mind. That was not our doing. That was how they were made. We simply removed the ones who made the choice to attack. The consequences were tragic, but they were not our fault." The chamber was silent. 4,000 species understood something terrible. Humanity did not fight with anger or hatred. They fought with cold, perfect logic. They identified threats. They eliminated threats. They did not waste resources on battles or sieges or occupations. They just solved problems. Permanently. After the vision of the ended, a deep silence filled the council chamber. Representatives of 4,000 species sat in their places, trying to understand what they had witnessed. Many of them had fought wars before. Some had lost family members in conflicts, but none of them had ever seen anything like this. The of the quiet worlds moved forward. It was one of the oldest beings in the galaxy, a creature made of living crystal that had existed for over 50 million years. Its body pulsed with soft colors as it spoke, its voice like stones grinding together. "Human," they said, "I have watched civilizations rise and fall. I have seen wars that lasted 10,000 years. I have witnessed horrors that would break lesser minds, but I have never seen anything like what your species does." Commander turned to face the ancient being. "I understand your concern." "Do you?" The colors shifted to deep red. "You speak of your actions as if they are reasonable, logical, even moral, but what I see is something different. I see a species that has perfected the art of complete destruction, not conquest, not domination, erasure." "Yes," agreed. "That is exactly what we do." "Then explain it to me," they demanded. "Help me understand. What determines who you erase? How do you decide who lives and who dies? What gives you the right?" Nodded. This was the question she had been waiting for. "Let me tell you about humans," she began. "Let me tell you how we evolved." She gestured, and the display system showed an image of ancient Earth. A vast plain stretched under a burning sun. In the distance, a herd of animals was running. "Our ancestors were not the strongest creatures on our world," explained. "We had no claws, no fangs, no armor. Other predators were faster than us, stronger than us, more dangerous in every way. By all logic, we should have died out millions of years ago." "But you did not," they observed. "No, we survived because of one simple trait, persistence." The image changed. Now it showed a group of early humans following the herd. They were not running fast, they were not attacking, they were just following. "On our world, we developed a hunting strategy that no other species used. We did not ambush our prey. We did not chase it down with speed. Instead, we followed it for hours, for days, sometimes for weeks. We tracked our prey across mountains and rivers and deserts. We never stopped. We never gave up. Eventually, the prey would become too tired to run anymore, and then we would finish it." Looked around the chamber. "This is what humans are. We are not the fastest or the strongest, but we are the most patient, the most persistent. When we decide that something must be done, we do not stop until it is finished. We do not give up. We do not forget. We do not forgive." "That explains how you fight," they said. "It does not explain what you fight for." "You are correct," nodded. "Let me explain our philosophy." She began to walk slowly around the central dais as she spoke. "Throughout our history, we have learned many painful lessons. We have fought thousands of wars among ourselves. We have committed terrible acts against each other. We have nearly destroyed our own civilization multiple times. And through all of this, we have learned one important truth." She stopped and faced the council. "A threat that is only defeated will return. A threat that is only contained will escape. A threat that is only punished will seek revenge. The only way to truly end a threat is to remove it completely, to make sure that it can never threaten anyone again." "That sounds like an excuse for cruelty," Ambassador interrupted. "It is the opposite," replied calmly. "Cruelty is prolonging suffering. Cruelty is dragging out a conflict for years when it could be ended in days. Cruelty is leaving your enemies alive so they can breed hatred in their children, ensuring that the killing continues for generations." She looked directly at. "When we identify a true threat, a force that has chosen to harm us and will not stop, we end it quickly, completely, efficiently. We do not torture, we do not make examples, we do not humiliate, we simply resolve the problem, and then we move on." "But the scale," another representative said. "There were trillions of beings. How can you speak of killing trillions as if it were simply solving a problem?" "Because for us it is," replied. "You must understand, Humans do not measure threats by numbers. We measure them by intent and capacity. They intended to consume our world. They had the capacity to do so. The fact that there were trillions of them did not make them less of a threat. It made them more of one. She brought up another image, the illuminated consciousnesses server worlds. Let me show you what happens when we face a threat that cannot be conventionally destroyed. The neural link activated once more. The council found themselves inside a vast digital space. All around them, billions of minds floated like stars in a computational universe. This was the illuminated consciousness, a species that had long ago abandoned physical bodies to exist as pure information. Humanity is inefficient, one of the illuminated spoke. Its voice echoed through the digital realm. Biological forms are weak, limited, mortal. We offer you perfection. Join us. Upload your minds to our network. Become eternal. The human response came back, no, thank you. This is not a request. We will upload your species whether you consent or not. Resistance is illogical. You will thank us when you understand. The illuminated began their assault. They sent viral programs to Earth's networks. They tried to hack human computer systems. They attempted to capture humans and forcibly upload their minds. The Council watched as humanity defended against these attacks, but defense was not enough. The illuminated were patient too. They could wait. They could try again and again for centuries. They did not need to sleep or rest. They would never give up. So humanity chose a different solution. They created a virus, not a program that destroyed data, something far worse, a program that introduced subtle errors into thought processes, a corruption that spread slowly, quietly, from mind to mind within the illuminated network. The infected minds did not die. That would have been merciful. Instead, they changed. Their thoughts became confused, their memories fragmented, their identities dissolved into noise. They remained aware enough to know something was wrong, but too damaged to understand what. You did not kill them, they said when the vision ended. You drove them insane. We gave them exactly what they tried to give us, replied. They wanted to forcibly change human minds. We changed theirs instead. The only difference is that we succeeded. The chamber was quiet for a long moment. Is there no one you will not destroy? A small representative asked. It was a member of a species of tiny, rabbit-like beings who had never fought a war. His expression softened when she looked at the small creature. Many people, she said gently. We do not seek enemies. We do not want to erase anyone. Every species we have faced, we offered peace first. We offered alternatives. We made clear what would happen if they attacked us. In each case, they chose to attack anyway. She knelt down so she was closer to this level. We have allies, little one. We have friends. They trade with us. The crystalline choir share their music with us. 13 refugee species displaced by the now live on worlds we prepared for them. We have given more help than harm. We have made more friends than enemies. She stood back up. But when someone threatens our home, our families, our children, when someone makes it clear that they will not stop until we are destroyed or enslaved or consumed, we respond. Not with anger, not with hatred, with certainty, with finality. Her voice hardened slightly. We will not leave threats alive to harm our children. We will not let enemies recover and return. We learned long ago that mercy to the merciless is cruelty to the innocent. So when we must act, we act completely. We solve the problem so that no one ever has to solve it again. This crystalline body pulsed with complex colors that no one in the chamber could fully interpret. I have lived for 50 million years, it said slowly. I have seen countless species rise to power. Eventually, all of them fell. War destroyed them. Internal conflict broke them. Complacency weakened them. They all fell. It turned its ancient gaze upon. But you humans, you might be different. Not because you are the strongest. Not because you are but because you understand something that most species never learn. that true peace is only possible when threats are truly ended, that kindness must be protected by strength, that the greatest cruelty is allowing evil to survive and grow. The bowed its massive crystalline head. I understand now. I'm not sure if I approve, but I understand. Bowed in return. That is all we have ever asked. Ambassador stepped forward again. His armored body trembled with barely controlled emotion. He had listened to the human explain her species' actions. He had watched the council members nod along as if any of this was acceptable. He could stay silent no longer. You speak of the illuminated, he said, his voice thick with anger. Distant species, ancient conflicts, but what about my people? What about the Dominion? We sent our fleet only 2 years ago. The wound is still fresh. The horror is still real. He turned to High Arbiter. I demand that the Council hear testimony from the only survivor of our fleet. Let them see what humans do when they are angry. Let them understand the true face of these monsters. Looked at, do you object? Not at all, replied calmly. The truth is the truth, let them see. Medical officers brought Admiral Orr into the chamber. He was seated on a floating platform, surrounded by life support equipment. Once, he had been one of the Dominion's greatest military leaders. Now he looked broken. His 4 eyes were dull and empty. His armored plates had lost their shine. He stared at nothing, his mouth moving slightly as if speaking to someone no one else could see. Admiral said gently, Admiral, can you hear me? Orr's eyes slowly focused on the ambassador. Recognition flickered across his face. He whispered, you should not be here. None of you should be here. They are listening. They are always listening. We need you to share your memory, said. The Council needs to see what happened to our fleet. Can you do that? Orr's whole body began to tremble. No, I cannot. You do not understand what I saw, what she showed me. I cannot put it into words. I cannot make you feel what I felt. The Neuralink can share the experience directly, said, if you are willing. For a long moment Orr said nothing. Then slowly he nodded. Perhaps you need to see, he said. Perhaps you all need to understand, so that you never make the mistake we made. The Neuralink activated. The Council found themselves seeing through Admiral Orr's eyes. The Dominion fleet was magnificent. 50,000 warships spread across the void of space, their formations perfect, their weapons armed and ready. 200 million soldiers stood at their stations, eager for glory. This was the largest military force the Dominion had assembled in 10,000 years, and Admiral Orr commanded it all. Set course for the human, he ordered. We will teach these creatures the price of defiance. The fleet entered hyperspace. The journey took 3 days, 3 days of anticipation, 3 days of planning how they would divide the conquered planet, 3 days of imagining the glory that awaited them. They dropped out of hyperspace near the largest planet in the human system, a giant ball of swirling gases that the humans called Jupiter. In the distance, Earth was visible as a tiny blue dot. Scan for defenses, Orr commanded. The report came back, a few hundred small ships, some orbital platforms, nothing that could threaten 50,000 warships. Orr smiled, begin the advance, let us end this quickly. Then the sun flickered. Not the small yellow star in the distance. No, the star itself, the source of all light and heat in this system, flickered, just for a moment, as if something had passed in front of it, something impossibly large. Before Orr could process this, every communication system on every ship in the fleet activated simultaneously. A human voice spoke, calm and polite, as if making a simple business inquiry. Hello, you have entered restricted space with hostile intent. We have 2 questions. First, did your government inform your families of this mission's true purpose? Second, would you like us to? Orr slammed his fist on his command chair. Trace that signal, find out how they accessed our systems. Sir, we cannot trace it. It is coming from everywhere, every frequency, every channel, we cannot block it." The voice continued, "While you consider your answers, we thought your loved ones at home might like to know the truth about this mission." Across Dominion space, billions of citizens suddenly received messages, videos, documents, recordings of secret military meetings, the real casualty projections for the fleet, projections that assumed 70% losses, the insurance payments that had already been calculated for the dead, the fact that this mission was never expected to succeed completely. It was meant to be a blood sacrifice to unite the Dominion population behind the government. On the fleet, soldiers began receiving messages from their families. "Is it true? Did they send you to die? Did they know you would not come back?" Morale cracked. Arguments broke out. Some soldiers demanded to speak with their commanders. Others refused to man their stations. The perfect formation began to fall apart. "Ignore these lies," or shouted. "This is enemy propaganda. Maintain discipline." But it was not lies. The soldiers could see the official government documents. They could hear recordings of their own leaders discussing acceptable losses. They could not pretend it was false. And then humanity showed what they did to enemies who threatened their home. The council watched through Or's eyes as 3 Dominion worlds simply vanished. Not exploded, not destroyed, vanished. These were the fortress worlds where the Dominion's War Council sat in safety, sending soldiers to die while they remained protected. One moment, the worlds were there. The next moment, there was nothing. No debris, no radiation, no sign that anything had ever existed in those locations. "What happened?" Or demanded. "Report, what happened to our command worlds?" "Sir, they are gone, completely gone. Our sensors show nothing. It is as if they were never there." The human voice returned. "Your War Council no longer exists. Your government no longer has the authority to prosecute this conflict. You may return home. Your families are waiting. This is the only warning." 200 million soldiers turned their ships around. Some were crying. Others were shouting with relief. A few were angry, but they were quickly silenced by their comrades. No one wanted to fight anymore. No one wanted to become like those 3 worlds, simply erased from existence. Or watched his entire fleet abandon him. He was too proud to run, too stubborn to accept defeat. He would stay. He would face the humans alone. He would preserve his honor even if it meant death. A single human ship approached his flagship. It was small and completely unarmed. It looked like a transport vessel, something meant for carrying cargo, not fighting wars. A shuttle detached and docked with his ship, or ordered his guards to stand ready. He would meet these humans with dignity. The airlock opened. A single human walked through. She was small, with dark hair and kind eyes. She wore no armor. She carried no weapons. She looked like someone's mother, someone's teacher, someone who had never hurt anyone in her life. "Hello, Admiral," she said. "My name is Dr. Sarah. I'm a psychologist. May I sit down?" Or was confused. "You are not a soldier." "No." She sat across from him as if they were old friends meeting for a conversation. "I am here to talk with you. That is all." "Talk? Your species just erased 3 of our worlds. You destroyed the largest fleet in our history without firing a single shot. And you want to talk?" "Yes." Doctor's voice was gentle, patient. "Because you are not our enemy, Admiral. You were a tool used by your leaders. A weapon pointed at us by people who did not care if you lived or died. We have no quarrel with you." "Then why are you here?" "Because I want you to understand something." She leaned forward slightly. "I want you to understand why you are going to go home, why you are going to tell everyone what you saw here, and why you are going to spend the rest of your life making sure that no one ever makes the mistake your leaders made." For 6 hours, Doctor talked with Admiral Orr. She showed him things. Images of human children playing in parks, families sharing meals together, people helping strangers, the simple beauty of human life. Then she showed him other things. The history of human warfare, the millions who had died in their conflicts, the weapons they had developed to destroy each other, the terrible capacity for violence that lived within them. "We know what we are capable of," Doctor explained. "We know the darkness that lives inside us. That is why we have worked so hard to control it. We do not want to be monsters. We want to be kind. We want to be peaceful. We want to be good." Her voice hardened slightly. "But when someone threatens our children, our homes, our future, we will become the monsters, without hesitation, without mercy. We will use every terrible weapon we have ever invented. We will hunt our enemies across the galaxy for 1,000 years if necessary. We will not stop until the threat is ended forever." She reached out and touched Or's armored hand. "Do you understand, Admiral? We gave your fleet a choice. We gave your government warnings. They chose to attack anyway, and so we removed them, not because we wanted to, because we had to, because protecting our children is more important than anything else." Or stared at the small human woman. He thought of his own children, waiting at home. He thought of the soldiers who had already fled back to their families. "What do you want from me?" he asked quietly. "Go home," Doctor said. "Tell everyone what happened here. Tell them that humanity does not want enemies. Tell them that we would rather be friends. But also tell them the truth about what happens to those who threaten us. Not to frighten them, but to help them understand." She stood up to leave. "The greatest kindness we can offer the galaxy is clarity. Let there be no misunderstanding. Let there be no accidents. Let everyone know exactly what we are, so that no one ever has to learn the hard way." She walked back to the airlock. Before she left, she turned one last time. "We will be watching you, Admiral, not as enemies, as witnesses. Show us that your species can learn. Show us that your species can grow. Be the example that proves we do not have to erase you. Please." The neural link ended. The council sat in stunned silence. Admiral Or looked up at them with his broken eyes. "She was kind to me," he said softly. "In those 6 hours, she showed me more kindness than any of my own leaders ever had, and that is what frightens me most." He began to weep. "Their kindness is real. Their desire for peace is genuine, but so is their capacity for absolute destruction. They are not lying when they say they would rather be friends. They are not lying when they say they will erase anyone who threatens them." He looked directly at Commander. "They are the most dangerous species in the galaxy, and also perhaps the best. I do not know how both of these things can be true, but they are." Nodded slowly. "Thank you, Admiral. I hope one day you find peace." Or laughed weakly. "I found peace the moment I decided to tell the truth. That is what your doctor taught me. The truth is the only path forward." He was wheeled out of the chamber. The council was left with his words echoing in their minds. The truth, the only path forward. The council chamber was quiet for a long time after Admiral Or was taken away. 4,000 species sat with their thoughts, processing everything they had seen and heard. The images played over and over in their minds. The illuminated, the Dominion fleet, civilizations that had existed for millions of years, reduced to nothing. High Arbiter finally broke the silence. "We must now vote," she announced. "The question before this council is simple. What shall be done about humanity? There are 3 options. First, we can impose sanctions, limit their technology, restrict their expansion, contain their growth. Second, we can declare them a threat to galactic civilization and take appropriate measures. Third, we can welcome them as a full member of the Galactic Council with all rights and privileges." She paused, her 6 eyes scanning the chamber. "Before we vote, does anyone wish to speak?" Many representatives shifted uncomfortably, but no one stepped forward. They were afraid. After what they had witnessed, they did not want to say anything that might make humanity their enemy. Commander raised her hand. "May I address the council one final time?" she asked. Nodded. "You may." Walked slowly to the center of the dais. She looked smaller than ever, surrounded by thousands of alien beings, many of whom could crush her with a single limb. but she showed no fear. She never had. "You are afraid of us now," she said. "I understand. What we have shown you is frightening. Our capacity for destruction is real. Our willingness to use it is genuine. If I were in your position, I would be afraid too." She paused and looked around the chamber. "But I want to show you something the presentation did not include. I want you to see the other side of humanity, the side that makes us who we truly are." The display systems activated once more, but this time there were no images of war or destruction. Instead, the council saw something different. They saw a world called. It was a beautiful planet covered in golden forests and crystal-clear lakes. They lived there, a peaceful species of traders with soft fur and gentle eyes. They had been one of the first species to contact humanity after Earth joined the galactic community. "They asked us for nothing but trade," explained. "They offered friendship. We accepted. Today they are our closest allies. Human children learn songs in school. Students come to Earth to study our art and literature. We have never raised a weapon against them. We never will." The image changed. Now it showed a dying star surrounded by crystalline structures. The crystalline choir said, "A species made of living music. Their sun was dying. They had no way to move their civilization. They sent a message into space hoping someone would hear. We heard." The council watched as human ships arrived. Massive vessels carrying equipment and engineers. Over 50 years, they built a shell around the dying star, a structure that captured its energy and extended its life by millions of years. "We asked for nothing in return," said. "They offered us their music. We treasure it more than gold." Another image appeared. This one showed 13 different species living on green, fertile worlds. "The refugee fleets," explained. "When they consumed there, these species fled into space with nothing but the clothes on their backs. They drifted for decades, slowly dying. Then they found us." The council saw human ships meeting the refugee vessels. They watched as food and medicine were transferred. They saw humans working alongside aliens to build new colonies on worlds that humanity had terraformed specifically for them. 13 species said, "Billions of lives, we gave them homes, we gave them hope. We did not ask them to serve us or pay us back. We did it because it was right." She turned to face the council directly. "This is who we are. We are not monsters who destroy for pleasure. We are not conquerors who seek to dominate the galaxy. We are a species that wants to explore, to learn, to help, to create. We want friends, not subjects. We want partners, not slaves." Her voice softened. The illuminated the Dominion. They did not have to be our enemies. We offered each of them peace. We offered each of them friendship. They chose violence. They chose to threaten our home. And so we responded in the only way we know how. She spread her hands. "You must understand something about humans. We do not separate kindness from strength. We believe they must exist together. Kindness without strength is weakness. You cannot protect the things you love if you cannot defend them. Strength without kindness is cruelty. Power that serves only itself destroys everything it touches." Her eyes swept across the chamber. "We choose to be kind. We prefer to be peaceful, but we will never be weak. When we love something, we protect it. Our families, our homes, our friends, our future. These things are sacred to us, and we will do anything to keep them safe." She let the words sink in. "You can sanction us. You can declare us a threat. You can try to contain us or destroy us. But I will tell you now what will happen if you do. We will survive. We always survive. And eventually we will come back. Not for revenge, we do not believe in revenge, but to remove the threat you pose, completely, permanently, because that is what we do." She held up a hand. "Or you can choose a different path. You can welcome us as members of this council. You can be our partners. You can accept our friendship. You can share in our knowledge, our art, our music, our stories. You can help us explore the galaxy, and we will help you in return." Her voice grew warm. We have so much to offer each other, so much to learn, so much to build. The universe is vast and wonderful and full of mysteries. Would you rather spend your time fighting us or exploring it with us? She stepped back from the dais. The choice is yours, but please remember, we did not come to the stars to make enemies. We came because we looked up at the night sky and felt wonder. We wanted to meet you, all of you, and we still do. She bowed her head. Thank you for listening. The chamber was silent. Then slowly, the of the quiet worlds moved forward. Its ancient crystalline body pulsed with colors, deep blues and soft greens and warm golds. I have existed for 50 million years, the said. In all that time, I have never heard a species speak as you do. Most civilizations seek power for its own sake. They talk of peace but prepare for war. They offer friendship with one hand while hiding a knife in the other. It turned to face the council. But I believe this human speaks truth. I have watched her throughout this session. She has not lied. She has not exaggerated. She has simply told us what her species is and let us decide how to respond. That kind of honesty is rare. It deserves to be rewarded. The colors shifted to brilliant white. I vote to welcome humanity as a full member of this council. A murmur spread through the chamber. One by one, other species began to speak. The vote yes, said the golden-furred representative. Humanity has shown us only kindness. We trust them. The vote yes, squeaked the tiny rabbit-like creature. We are afraid, yes, but we are more afraid of what might happen if we say no. The crystalline choir votes yes, sang a being made of living light. They saved our civilization. We will never forget. More votes came. Yes from the refugee species. Yes from dozens of trading partners. Yes from scientific communities that had shared research with human scientists. Yes from artists who had collaborated with human creators. Yes from countless species who had received help, friendship, or simple kindness from the strange little beings from Earth. A few species abstained. They were afraid, and that was understandable. But not a single vote was cast for sanctions. Not a single vote was cast to declare humanity a threat. The final tally was announced. 3,847 votes in favor of full membership, 12 abstentions, 0 votes against. High Arbiter nodded slowly. The Council has decided. The species known as humanity is hereby welcomed as a full member of the Galactic Council, with all rights and privileges that entails. She turned to, Commander, please accept our welcome. May this be the beginning of a long and fruitful partnership. Smiled, it was a genuine smile, full of warmth and hope. Thank you, High Arbiter, thank you all. You will not regret this decision. As the session began to close, Ambassador approached. His earlier anger had faded, replaced by something more complicated, respect mixed with caution. You have won, he said quietly. I suppose I should congratulate you. Shook her head. There are no winners here, Ambassador, only survivors. Your fleet was destroyed by your own leader's arrogance, not by us. I hope your people can rebuild. I hope your children can grow up in peace. Studied her face for a long moment. The Dominion would like to request formal trade negotiations, he said finally, if you are willing. We are always willing to make friends, replied. Contact our diplomatic corps. They will be happy to meet with you. Bowed stiffly and walked away, watched him go. The approached her next. Its ancient form towered over her, but there was no threat in its presence. You humans have a saying, it rumbled, about speaking softly and carrying a large stick. I believe the galaxy understands now. Laughed softly. We have another saying too, walk in peace but never forget how to run. The colors pulsed with amusement. I think I will enjoy watching your species, it said. You are strange, frightening, and kind in equal measure. I suspect you will change the galaxy in ways none of us can predict. We usually do, admitted. It is part of being human. We cannot help but change things. She looked up at the vast crystal dome of the council chamber, at the dying star that hung beyond it. But we will try to change things for the better. That is all we can promise. The next day, humanity's seat on the council was installed. It was placed in the exact center of the chamber, a small chair sized for a small species, but everyone who passed it understood what it represented. Humanity had arrived, they came in peace, they wanted friendship. But they carried the largest stick the galaxy had ever seen. And they would never, ever put it down. The galaxy would never forget. That was exactly how humanity wanted it, because remembering was safer than forgetting. And humanity, above all things, wanted the galaxy to be safe. Even from itself.